Hello, what is poppin' YouTube? Very first video of the channel. This is Just for Men University, or JMU. What can my university provide for you? We're about to find out. Classes in session. Look at me, acting like a teacher and all that good stuff. We have a video that's up right now, ready for me to give my thoughts on and give my reactions to. For starters, welcome to the channel. For those of you who decided to show up and, just decide to take a look and see what we got going on here. So, with this channel, this is going to be a men's improvement channel. This is, but not just your typical men's improvement channel. It is going to be more geared towards maybe a little bit of a younger audience for those in high school, college, and whatnot. And the list goes on. And this also is not just an improvement in one aspect versus, things like dating, going to the gym and all that stuff. Essentially a full package, right? This is almost like a one-stop shop in terms of the things that your father should have taught you and whatnot. So we are going to start off, for those of you who haven't seen the YouTube banner, it's going to be, again, self-improvement, women/dating. So we're gonna go over a little bit of female nature. Case in point, what we're about to take a look at, lifestyle. That's a big one. That's one that a lot of men's improvement channels don't really cover too much. They don't really brush up on lifestyle that much. There is a couple, that show you how to dress and the fragrances and stuff, but this is more for average people, right? I understand that everybody looks more towards the high value guys, right? And why wouldn't you, right? The reality is most of us will never hit that milestone. I'm on my way to hitting that milestone within the next couple of years. So I guess I'll have that going for me. We'll see what happens in a few years, as long as I continue to, put on that grind and stay steadfast as to what I got going on. But this idea nowadays that you can't live a fruitful life and you can't actually have a woman that's on your program and whatnot unless you are a high value man, that kind of needs to go. Even as an average man, you can have, a fulfilling life. You can have a partner or spouse that is on your program that helps assist with your goals and is, good to get along with. You can, even if you're not 6 foot tall, I'm 5'9", you can still have a very decent dating experience. I don't look the best. I'm not a pretty boy, and I'm not the tallest. I don't even have the deepest voice, but guess what? I still do not struggle with dating. But I will let these videos and all of that good stuff speak for themselves. But, so, I'm going to let this play out. Let's go ahead and hit the play button.
Just don't apologize.
Sorry.
Here's the thing.
I'm just saying there's hope, is all I'm saying. There is hope.
And we're not saying that there aren't good women in Western countries. That's not what we're saying at all. However, there are certain realities in the dating landscape. For example, it's kind of always been the case, but when social media was introduced and when dating apps were introduced, you basically have women who are all chasing after the top tier of men. Hypergamy, I'm sure you're familiar with the term. Mm-hmm. So all these women, they're all chasing after the top tier of men because here's the thing. Women will confuse relationship attraction, for at least how men view it. There's relationship attraction and there's sex attraction. Men will sleep with women that they would never commit to or never have a relationship with. Typically though, for women, for a woman to be willing to sleep with a guy, he needs to be at least attractive enough to be in a relationship with in terms of physical appearance. But men, we will sleep with women who we would never be in a relationship with her strictly just based off her looks alone. But we welcome the easy, not all men, but men will welcome the easy access to sex. So what you have happening because of that is women are hooking up with like top tier dudes who they will never be able to secure for a long-term relationship. They either wrongly think that they can secure that man for long-term commitment, so they're either delusional, or they acknowledge that these guys are just fuck boys and I'll never get commitment, but they'll always kind of be chasing after them, and they'll either wrongly think, well, I'm able to sleep with a guy who's a 9, so I must be a 9.
Yeah.
So you have women with an overinflated self-perception of their own physical attractiveness, of their value on the dating marketplace, let's say. And so to say men go level up, well, the reality is, at the end of the day, like, if at least what makes logical sense, an average woman should get with an average man. However, average women can sleep with men who are not average. You disagree?
And you don't think men can do the same thing?
No, men.
God, no, they can't.
No,
On
average dudes.
Any
Dude.
level.
Nope.
You
An average-
don't think an ugly guy could get a girl.
You're not checking for the guy at the CVS store. The guy behind the counter at the CVS store, that's an average guy. The guy that that you run into when you go to get your oil changed and whatnot, that's an average guy. The man that you come across that will, let's say, deliver your Amazon package, that is an average guy. You are not checking for any of those people. That is the reality. So I let this clip play for a decent bit of time to really give you the concepts of what I want to talk about. Right? He talks about, women developing an overinflated sense of self-worth based off of the types of men that she can sleep with. And this is true. What is the problem here? Hypergamy has always been a thing since the beginning of time, but by the sheer fact that we had limited access to the masses, hypergamy as a concept was always put in check. Hypergamy has always been put in check for that very reason, to where, yes, women are going to try and consolidate on the best man that they possibly can, but it has normally been limited to your demographic. Brian from school, right? Or, Trevor from the neighborhood, right? Those, the cute guy from the neighborhood and all that good stuff. Things were kind of, things were put into check. But now that you add social media to the mix, where everybody has literal access to anyone and everyone across the globe, and not only have access but reach out and communicate with people across the globe, the hypergamy at that point spirals out of control. At this point it is unchecked, because that same instinct to consolidate on the highest value man possible is, goes up to infinite heights, right? Brian from school is no longer a viable option when, we have Blake 5 schools down, or even just that lives an hour away, that is reaching out to you. You can see his lifestyle on the net, right? You can see that he's doing all kinds of traveling. You can straight up see the lifestyle he's living, and that kind of man is reaching out to you. The same kind of man who otherwise you never would have met, and you never would have been able to see. You wouldn't even know that man existed before social media. But now social media comes into play, and you can see all of these things, and the dating pool expands from its own little demographic to global, hence the flyout culture, which I will definitely make a separate video about that too, because that has further exacerbated the problem. So anyway, yeah, so why is this a problem, right? Because women do not date down. At least not happily. They cannot happily date down. They will do it if they have to, but if they're doing it because they have to and not because they choose to, that is going to come with some content, and that is not what you want, because you want a woman's respect. And respect is number one. Respect is mandatory from a woman for any long-term relationship to work out. Anyway, so this is a problem, because the moment a woman even gets a taste of a certain lifestyle or experience or whatnot, it further, how should I put it? It hinders her ability to see the men that are more on her level. So take me, for example, right? I'm an average guy right now. Let's say before, I'm going to give an example. I used to drive for Uber, right? And there was a sweet girl that I picked up, right? We had a nice conversation. You know, I was really feeling her, this, that, and the third, right? But as we got further into the conversation, I found out, or she disclosed that she dated some guy from the NBA for, you know, a little bit, not too long, at least about a year and a half, if I can recall, right? And from that point, I lost all interest, and it is not because of, oh, you're insecure or whatnot. It is not really an insecure thing. It is more of a realistic thing, because before, right? Let's say if she, before dating that NBA player, she could have looked at me and thought, you know, he's a cool guy, you know, I actually don't mind, right? He's actually pretty great. But now that she's got that experience, she experienced a crazy lifestyle and this, that, and the third. Now she would, after someone like that, she would look at somebody like me and go, you know, he's all right. That's not what you want as a man. Let me tell you that right now, as a man. You do not, the last thing you want is for a woman to look at you or have the opinion of you, and they just look at you and it's like, you know, he's all right. You don't want that. You want, you know, he's actually really cool. He's fantastic. He's great. All this stuff. The last thing you want is he's okay, because what that means is you do not stand out to her, right? You may not even be the worst, but you're not up here either. She may have dated like 3 other people that have had way better lifestyles than me, and that's going to put me right in the middle of the people that she's dealt with. But it puts a perception in a woman's head that, hey, I've dealt with multiple people that had way better lifestyles than him. I could do better than him. In her mind, she is settling, right? And that's not in the best. That's not the best. That's not in a good way, right? She's settling with content, right? So she's not going to look at me the same way she looks at those other guys. And if she doesn't see you as a prize, she's not going to look at you the same. She's not going to treat you the same. She sure as hell is not going to fuck you the same. And all that. Like, all of this, all of those, and you need for her to, you want her best, right? If a long-term relationship, right, is really going to last more than 10, 15 years, she has to view you as a prize. And I don't mean just last, right? Because how many people out there are married and are in sexless marriages, right? You are essentially living as roommates. I'm talking about where she still respects you after 10 years, 15 years, and she still respects you enough to where, you know, she looks at you with admiration still. You guys still hook up regularly, things like that. That's what I'm talking about. When you have a woman's respect, things work, right? And you can't just have a little bit of respect. You got to have her utmost respect. It's unfortunate, right? That's the way it's got to be. So that's why I was kind of turned away from the idea of dating that woman, because I know once you experience a certain lifestyle, you can't really go backwards happily. I have to stress that. I have to stress happily, right? So that is the main issue, right? The moment you get a woman gets a taste of it, it's very hard for her to go backwards and be happy with it. So, gentlemen, it's really important to where even if you get a pretty gal, right? even if she's really nice and all this and accommodating and all that, you really have to look into the past people she has actually dated and the kind of lifestyles that she's experienced, because let's be honest, you know, she's comparing. She's comparing, whether you want to believe it or not. This is the problem with not just women with high body counts, but let's just say she's never had any one night stands. She's never had flings, right? Let's just say she's had 6 boyfriends. You're being compared to every single boyfriend she's had mentally somewhere, you know, in terms of lifestyle, masculinity, again, finances, build, height, your voice, you know, how your voice makes her feel. You know, the list goes on. You are being subconsciously compared to each and every boyfriend she's had in the back of her head somewhere. She doesn't even realize she's doing it. But again, if she doesn't see you as somebody more of towards the top of the list of people she's dated, she's going to look at you and think, not the best place you want to be. So, you know, you really got to run the Carfax on that one. And you really got to make absolutely sure that she actually is looking up to you, not looking down on you. Otherwise, and again, this is the crazy part. You were literally competing with phantoms, that you're competing with people that aren't even there, that aren't even in the picture. There's all those men aren't even in the picture, and you're still competing with them in her mind. That's a scary thing to think about. So, this is the problem with hypergamy of the modern time. Social media, when you get access to people with blue check marks and all that stuff, you know, you, the man that doesn't have the blue check mark, that doesn't have the penthouse, that doesn't have the supercars and all that stuff, you know, you know, she's going to look at that and just say, hey, I've experienced this lifestyle, this lifestyle, this lifestyle, I can do better. So, honestly, I think I'm going to call it here. Let me know what you guys think about this first video, this reaction video that I have brought forth to you guys. You know, I know was probably a little bit more long-winded with this. I'm definitely going to work on cleaning things up, shorten it down a little bit, because I know men are simple and all of that. But I just wanted to absolutely make sure that I hit all the points I wanted to hit. Women, when they experience a certain lifestyle or they get a certain taste, it is going to be very, very difficult for them to go backwards in terms of lifestyle and be happy with it. Is it possible? Yes, it is definitely possible. How probable is it, though? It is highly unlikely. To roll that dice and to gamble with something like that, you know what I mean? It's just not even worth it. More times than not, you're wasting your time. So let me know what you guys think about this the style of vid, the reactions and whatnot. I'd love to hear from you guys. Again, this is Just for Men University. So I also do want to do not just reactions, but I want to do personal stories from you guys. So if you guys have personal stories from dating experiences, trying to figure out what you did wrong or whatnot, or try to figure out what happened, or you just want to share, feel free to send it to me and I'll read the story I'll read your story on the channel. I'll keep your name and all that anonymous and all that good stuff as well, because I know a lot of you have jobs you want to keep, you don't want to get canceled and whatnot. So don't worry, just email me at justformenuniversity@gmail.com for your stories and whatnot, because I do want to do personal stories and I want to help. The personal stories I want to do, right? I want to read almost like Reddit stories, right? I'm definitely gonna do Reddit stories and stuff as well. There's a lot I want to do on this channel, so I hope to see you guys in future videos as you guys stick with me through this journey. So with that being said, guys, I'm out.